Well, ladies and gentlemen, what a weekend it was on the campaign trail for Donald Trump. Of course, not for Joe Biden. Biden can barely do a 10-minute speech, but Donald Trump gave what I would consider to be just a total alpha rally in New Jersey, a more liberal place. We don't expect him to win New Jersey. People were complaining, why not go to a swing state? But guys, it doesn't matter. The rally, the sun coming down, it was a crescendo of epic proportions, and it just goes to show you, like, Joe Biden couldn't do something like that, and Donald Trump knows that. That's why he's doing it. That's why he looks energized. He looks extremely healthy. Imagine Biden going out there for an hour in the sun. It wouldn't happen, and Trump is just leagues in front of Biden when it comes to cognitive ability at this point. And we also had a major polling drop. Now, the polls, they've been quiet the past week and a half. How about Siena? New York Times coming out with some polls. Arizona, Trump +6. At this point, Arizona has to be seen minimum as a Trump lean. I know the abortion thing, I get it, but we've seen so many polls, the sentiment surrounding Biden. Trump is the favorite in Arizona at this point. In Georgia, I think Trump, this is another state, you can't even call it a swing state. Trump +9. That's just a head-to-head Trump-Biden. When you bring in the others, I would imagine it's probably a similar lead for Donald Trump. And we've seen a lot of pollsters adjust and say, no, Georgia now is actually a lean Trump, even though a year ago, going into the 2024 election, everyone thought it was a pure swing state. Going into 2020, I will be honest, I thought there's no way the Democrats could win this state. They ran up ridiculous numbers in the inner city. It's not going to happen again. Nobody is energized to vote for Biden. And now Biden has the worst possible situation. Not only is his administration hated, you've got the lunatics on the far left fully against Biden, and they're talking about what's going to be happening at the DNC when that takes place, with all of the protests, all of the people that now they're technically they're Democrats, they're socialists, they hate Biden because he's not supporting Palestine, which is an extension of Hamas. Those people are totally brain dead. They are supporting a terrorist organization. But if you're on the right, just sit back and laugh. They're all dumb, and they can all fight and throw poop at each other as Trump continues to go up in the polls. Michigan, you do have Biden +1. Until we get someone, whether it's Trump or Biden, with a concrete 3 or 4 point lead in several polls, Michigan needs to be treated as a pure swing state. Nevada, this is the big poll coming out of Nevada. In a head-to-head, Trump +13. Nevada now seeming like a Trump lean. It's just one poll, but actually it's not just one poll. In terms of a double-digit lead, it is one poll, but we've seen polls and polls and polls in Nevada of Trump up 4, 5, 6 points, and now, obviously, Trump's not going to win Nevada by 13. Maybe you could say, well, maybe it's only a 6 or 7 point lead, but still, that is a crazy number. Pennsylvania, Trump +3. Pennsylvania at this point still a swing state, but a decent number there. Wisconsin, the other swing state, Trump +1. That's basically 50-50. Although, at this point, I can't even say it's 50-50. If you look at the circumstances right now as it relates to the election, this is why the betting markets don't make any sense. And you could argue, well, the crony kangaroo courts, they're going to charge Trump, and maybe that's what the betting markets are clinging to. Honestly, that has to be the only reason that Biden is still seen as the favorite in some of these states. What was he the favorite in? Arizona, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, and he's going to have to sweep those states if he wants to win, especially if Trump continues to trend well in Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada. If Trump wins those 3 states, it opens up the map completely for him. And then you take a look at Arizona, including everyone. Trump actually improves by 3 points. He goes from +6 to +9. Georgia, Trump is +8. He goes down a point. Michigan, Biden goes to +3. Nevada, Trump +14. Pennsylvania, Trump +4. Wisconsin, sitting Trump +1. So it does seem right now, at least according to this pollster, Pennsylvania seeming like a slight lean to Trump. Wisconsin, a pure swing state. Michigan, maybe a very slight lean to Biden, but this is just a single poll. The reality is, and the big thing to take away from this, is the crazy leads in states like Nevada, the solid lead in Georgia, the solid lead in Arizona. If those 3 states continue to trend to Trump, And the dialogue starts shifting to where those are not pure toss-ups, they're Republican leans. The map for Trump gets so much easier. He's going to have many different paths as opposed to Biden. Biden's going to have to win all three of the Rust Belt states. We already know he's losing Ohio. He's losing Florida. Nebraska 2nd District seems to be very shaky. Trump won that in 2016. He lost it in 2020 by about 7. That could be another electoral vote to add to his collection as well. And this map kind of demonstrates exactly the one path that Biden would have. This is the polar opposite of where we were going into the 2020 election and the 2016 election. It was always the Republican that has to run the table. Well, now with Florida shifted totally right, with Ohio shifted totally right, with Nevada possibly shifting right, with Arizona possibly shifting right, with North Carolina seemingly also leaning to Trump, all of that. And how about Iowa? Even back in 2016, they thought Hillary had a chance at Iowa, maybe even Texas. It's changed totally. And by the way, there's that Nebraska 2nd District in this map. It's going to Biden. If it goes to Trump, it's tied at 269. Trump would be the president. So you look at this, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, they're all probably going to be very close. But for Trump, this is where you would want to be. You would only have to win one of those states or Nebraska's 2nd District, or maybe take statewide Maine. We're going to have to get more polling out of there. You've also got Minnesota. We don't expect it, but who knows? There's been some light polling showing Trump only down 2 or 3 points in Minnesota. It really shouldn't surprise anyone. I'm not saying Trump's going to win Minnesota, but when you look at Biden, the current sentiment, the worst approval rating, how about 7 or 8 points lower than Trump was, yet Trump got 90% more negative media coverage. This stuff is just so ridiculous, and Trump goes out, does a crazy rally in New Jersey. Guys, I think the phrase of the day is the writing is on the wall. Okay, we can sit here and we can fearmonger and we can call Trump Adolf Hitler. I know he killed 42 trillion people. He's the worst person in history. But it's funny how it's shifted too. If you talk to any of these people, the number one reason they hate Trump, at least the number one reason that I've seen, he's a criminal. He's a criminal. Look at all his charges. He's a felon. That's the number one reason. And it's funny because they can't really fearmonger Trump with the World War III stuff because the world is in a much more unstable place under Democratic leadership, under Joe Biden. And even the far left agrees with me there with Biden. I guess, the lack of support for Palestine, obviously for him, that's a lose-lose situation. No matter what you do, people are going to be angry at you. As opposed to Trump, he can relatively sit back and say, yeah, I mainly support Israel. Obviously, some people further to the right are not going to like that. But in general, it's a much more popular view within his party as opposed to Biden. Maybe, you know what, maybe most liberals do also support Israel, and it's just the fringe, crazy college activists that might be getting funded, which may be an overrepresentation of what liberals really think. I could understand that. But still, if you're talking about the Democratic National Convention, how about even this just totally kangaroo primary season the Democrats have had? Are they even letting anyone run? I mean, it's just, and I understand Biden's the incumbent, I get it, but they're just so asleep at the wheel. This guy has the worst. If there was one time to challenge an incumbent president, it would be now. The worst approval rating by 7 points in the history since we've started doing approval rating, and there's just no challenger, and they won't allow it. They won't even let some of these people on the ballot to even compete against Biden. Biden's not doing any debates against them. Now, he did come out and say he was going to debate Trump. I think he obviously has to, because if he declined that and said, I'm not doing it, that just raises more questions about where he is in terms of his ability to lead over the next 4 years. And that just seems so ridiculous. Biden in office for another 4 years, but it does seem, at least at this point, there are some rumors going around. Maybe they will remove him. Maybe they'll get desperate. We'll have to see what the polling says within the next few weeks and all the Trump court cases. That's really the thing that they're clinging to at this point. But either way, that is the current state. I think the big news, the huge rally for Trump, and now possibly the math getting better with all of these polls. You want to confirm it, but the Nevada plus 13, plus 14 poll, even if you include everyone, even if he's not up by that much, it's just a very bullish poll for Trump. He might only be up by 6 or 7. It's still really good. And then Arizona, the abortion stuff, it's not going to save the Democrats. It's poor leadership from Biden, and then they think they can fearmonger abortion and win these elections. That's not how it works. So Arizona, still, even with the abortion stuff, leaning towards Trump. Georgia, it's not a swing state. It's a lean Trump. And then also North Carolina is another one. Looks like it's leaning more towards Trump. We've seen pretty much every poll out of North Carolina, at least the past 15, have all been in Trump's direction, most of them by at least 4 or 5 points. And then the big states will be Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. And also maybe you can throw in Nebraska's 2nd district. I know they wanted to do winner take all in Nebraska. It would certainly help Trump. And by the way, if you also want to do winner take all in Maine, it would cancel it out if Biden wins Maine. But I think every state should be winner take all. That's my opinion. If one of them helps Trump, if one of them helps Biden, that's fine. I'm just saying I think all of them need to be winner take all and be played under the same rules. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.